loud voice, so I'll just move that a bit further back. Okay. Good evening. Thank you to Victoria and to the Box for asking us to speak, but I think it'll be me. My name is Léonie Prentice, and along with Darryl Codrington, we're representing Culture Club. And we'd just like to share some background and introduce the Windrush in the Far Southwest exhibition. So, to start off with, the Box asked for people with experience of racism to meet and consider the collection through an anti-racist lens. We looked at various aspects of the archive and searched for records relating to the global majority. The archive did hold some images of Caribbean migrants arriving at Millbay Docks in Plymouth, but there was barely any information about those images. The group were intrigued and tried to discover more detail. Now, this was very hard to uncover because searches of the archive and library yielded very little new information. So we looked to apply for funding from the National Lottery Community Fund. Tony Davey is somewhere. He's at the back. Thank you for supporting us with our bid. And he supported us with this process, and we were successful. The award was used to conduct formal research into the history of the Millbay migrants and what happened after they arrived. The funding was also used to create a film that became a 5-screen installation in the Media Gallery in September and was filmed by our very own Darryl Codrington. So, the interviews. Culture Club decided that we'd try and find and record the stories of the migrants and their descendants in the far southwest. It wasn't an easy task, and initially attempts to contact people met with very little success. Not only did we need to find people, but they had to be prepared to share their stories on film. Eventually, and after many emails, phone calls and letters, we were able to persuade just under 20 people to share their lives on film. The stories were rich and moving testimonies to the forces of how people move across continents, and the stories continue to have resonance today. At the start of the summer, the Box suggested the possibility of creating an exhibit in the new year based upon the findings of the research and using the filmed interviews. The search was on for significant objects that told the story of the lives and culture of the Caribbean migrants. The research had also uncovered a much larger story than that which had previously been thought. It showed that there had been in excess of 20 ships arriving at Millbay Docks, bringing over 28,000 men, women and children. And we also decided to create some new images that would show aspects of the contributors' lives within their communities now. And so the images, research, film and artefacts form the whole exhibition. As the contributors related the story of their lives, it was surprising how frequently shared narratives, themes emerged. Stories emerged that not only about the people that came, but also those that were left behind. Families were split and sometimes not reunited for years. Reconnection often brought its own difficulties. People talked about a 5-year plan. Reception in the UK was daunting, and often people were compelled to betray. But still the story is one of resilience and resourcefulness. For example, migrants formed self-help groups that pulled cash to send home and to buy homes in the UK when they were refused mortgages. So the story of the Windrush is well documented, but there were many other ships, and those stories were not so well recorded, and often migrants did not talk about their lives to their children. I personally didn't realise how emotional it would be sharing my story, and also how privileged I felt hearing people's stories. We are incredibly grateful to all the contributors and there are many in the room today, if you just want to pop your hands up. Yes, thank you from us to you for even sharing your story. We want to say lastly thank you to the Box by having this exhibition, because it really means that you've recognised that our stories should be shared with the wider community and not just put into the archives. So lastly, where have we gone on from there? Well, whilst working on this project, some members of Culture Club, myself, Darryl, I think Rudolph is out there somewhere, and Helen, continued and wanted to collaborate on further projects. So we created and formed the Cornwall and Devon Creative Collective, where we hope to continue working to promote creative collaboration, building upon the work of Culture Club. So the Windrush in the Far South West exhibition has shone some light onto the lives of these amazing pioneers, as well as creating an important archive for the future. I also hope we're able to continue to collect stories, if anybody's out there that wants to add to the archive and possibly exhibit stories again over the coming years. So many thanks from Léonie and Darryl. Thank you very much.